Hey, and welcome back to another video. So it's been almost a month since the iPhone 12 Pro Max was released, which gave me enough time to use it to its fullest and now do an in-depth review on it. But before we jump right in, don't forget to hit that like button and check out my channel, and if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button as it helps me out a lot. Also hit that bell notification button to get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm on Instagram, Discord and Twitter, and you can follow me on those using the links down in the description below. So the 12 Pro Max that I have here is the 256GB Pacific Blue model. I've done a separate unboxing video on this phone which you can find in the card above and down in the description below. So jumping right in, firstly let's cover one of the biggest highlights of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is its design. This is an all-new but somewhat familiar design which is heavily based on 2012's iPhone 5. I personally prefer this design over the rounded design of the iPhone 6, which was introduced in 2014. The reflective edges are quite a contrast from the smooth matte back, which also has an Apple logo which almost blends in when viewed at an angle. To put it simply, the phone is built like a tank, and as seen with a lot of drop tests on other videos, it certainly lives up to that name. The ceramic shield glass on the front is probably the strongest glass ever tested on a phone, and the back glass, despite not being ceramic shield, is also still pretty strong. It's quite heavy at 8 ounces or 228 grams, but this also somewhat adds to the premium feel and overall build quality. So for a quick go around of the phone itself, it has a profile switcher and volume rockers on the left, the lightning port, stereo speaker and microphone at the bottom, and finally the power button on the right. The US only version of this phone has a 5G receiver window on the right as well, and its purpose is to do with different 5G bands. I've done a separate video on this which you can find up in the card above. It's rated at IP68 dust and water resistance with a max depth of 6 meters up to 30 minutes. However, it's always a bad idea to take your phone out into the water as warranty does not cover this. Next, let's discuss display. The 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display has a resolution of 1284 by 2778 and a pixel density of around 458 pixels per inch, as well as a screen-to-body ratio of around 87%. With an average brightness of around 800 nits and a peak brightness of around 1200 nits, it's towards the brighter side but is not too bright either. It performs great under sunlight and has a great brightness range to suit different lighting conditions. Its wide color gamut True Tone OLED panel displays bright and accurate colors with dark blacks and vibrant shades where even slight color differences are noticeable. Pictures look amazing on it, and color transitions when watching videos are smooth and feel really fluid. An overall solid OLED display and easily one of, if not the best display of 2020. Now jumping into software, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is running iOS 14, which brought with it a whole heap of new features and tricks which propel the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the fullest. The interface is smooth as you would expect, and despite not having the rumored 120Hz display, the OS experience is still enjoyable and fluid. Multitasking and gestures are the same as before, but with the addition of widgets, and of course the extra screen space also really helps. The touch response time within the interface is almost instant, and the 6GB of RAM allow for multiple apps to be open and running in the background at the same time without a hitch. Apps stay open and running during heavy multitasking sessions, and the quick animations allow for a smooth transition between apps. Expect the iPhone 12 Pro Max to get updates for up to another 6 years until around iOS 20. Taking a peek under the hood, and we see the powerhouse of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is the beastly Apple A14 Bionic processor, which is easily the fastest mobile processor of 2020. Built on a 5nm process, the Apple A14 is a hexa-core CPU with 2 cores clocked in at 3.1 GHz and the other 4 clocked in at 1.8 GHz. The Apple A14 is backed by an Apple 4-core graphics processor, 6GB of RAM and a super fast NVMe SSD for storage. These specs ensure that the iPhone 12 Pro Max outperforms the competition and keeps the phone going through its future iOS updates without a hitch. While using the phone for the past month, I never noticed even the slightest stutter or slowness, and the phone performed as expected. Let us next open the shutters for the all-important camera, or cameras for that matter. The iPhone 12 Pro Max features 3 cameras and one time-of-flight LiDAR or light radar scanner, which supports the 3 lenses with depth, nighttime photography, and clarity of images. The iPhone 12 Pro Max is the first iPhone 12 Pro model to differentiate it from the standard Pro model in terms of camera performance, as the 12 Pro Max does have a slightly, if not quite, improved camera over the standard Pro model. The main wide-angle camera is a 12-megapixel f1.6 aperture camera with sensor shift stabilization. The ultra-wide camera is also a 12-megapixel shooter with an f2.4 aperture and 120-degree field of view. The telephoto or zoom camera is again a 12-megapixel shooter but with an f2.2 aperture and a 2.5 times optical zoom and optical image stabilization. The iPhone 12 Pro Max is capable of shooting 4K video at 60 fps with an all-new Dolby Vision HDR feature, which enhances the video and makes bright colors brighter and darker colors darker. The 12 is the first ever phone to have this feature. It can also shoot slow-motion video at 120 fps and 240 fps at 1080p, however the Dolby Vision feature does not apply here. So here are some photos and videos shot during the day and night on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. For a more detailed photo set with all 3 cameras, go watch my iPhone 12 Pro Max camera sample video, linked up in the card above and down in the description below. And here is some video shot at 1080p at 60 fps. And of course some slow motion at both 120 fps and 240 fps. And now for some nighttime images and video as well. The front-facing camera on the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a wide 12-megapixel shooter with an f2.2 aperture and can record video at 4K at 60 fps, as well as slow motion at 120 fps in 1080p. Here are some samples from the front camera during the day. And now for some portraits. And at night. And of course, for some video at 1080p at 60 fps. And finally, video at 120 fps in slow motion. iOS 14's new front camera mirror feature allows for the taking of photos with the front camera mirrored to look the way it does in the viewfinder, so you don't have to go and mirror it in a separate app later. I've done a review on this feature up in the card above and down in the description below. Battery life and charging time are important things in a busy life, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has a 3687 mAh battery, which is slightly smaller than last year's 11 Pro Max battery. The battery life on the iPhone 12 Pro Max is around 2 days on medium use and around 1.5 days on heavy use. Here is my test over the course of 2 days, starting on November 14th at 100% at 5:35 in the evening. The phone was used till early morning on the 15th as I was up texting and making international calls. And then on to November 15th where the battery is around half at around the same time in the evening. Okay, so it is November 16th at 11:55 a.m. and the battery percentage is now 15%, as you can see there. The battery is 15%. We started on November 14th at 5:35 p.m. on full charge, and I updated you on the 15th again with the battery was around half full, and now it's on the home stretch to 0, so I can assume it'll be 0 at about 1 o'clock if I continue using it, but I'm going to put it on charge anyway. So finally, from the iPhone Pro Max, you can expect around, if you count the time, well, I stayed up till early morning on the 14th as well, so yeah, about 2 days on average use. And my use consisted of WhatsApp calling, general browsing the web, YouTube videos, checking my mail. I did a small video edit on iMovie, and the most draining thing I did on this battery was take a 1.5 hour long video call. But I'm still surprised that the battery lasted for about 2 days. It's maybe slightly less than 2 days, but on average I would consider it to be 2 days. Charging times depend on which method you use, obviously. It's around 2 hours and 30 minutes on the MagSafe wireless charger and 20-watt power brick combo, where the phone charges at a peak wattage of 15 watts on the MagSafe. I've done a full review on the MagSafe plus 20-watt combo with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and you can find it in the card above and down in the description below. If you're charging directly off the 20-watt power adapter with fast charge, you'll get from 0 to 100 in about an hour and 20 minutes. And if you're using an older 10-watt charger, you can expect around 2 hours of charge time. Now here's a test of these stereo speakers using one of my videos, and as you can see, they're really loud and really clear. Keep your ears warm. Now let's jump into discussing audio quality. For this test, I used the Q20s via Bluetooth with an iPhone 12 Pro Max, as well as plugged in with an iPod Classic 5.5 Gen, which has an enhanced audio processor and is considered to be one of the best portable devices for music ever. I also tried it with an iPod Nano 5th Gen for neutral grounds. Various genres of music were tested, ranging from rock and death metal to pop and R&B. The Face ID scanner is faster than ever before and is almost not noticeable when unlocking the phone. So finally, that's it for this video, and I hoped it helped you with your purchasing decision. Don't forget to hit that like button and check out my channel, and if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button as it helps me out a lot. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.